Hello and welcome to the 50-cent tour of Friday, September 6th, 2013. Please find a seat on the Liberty bus and our tour will begin. Before we move away from the bus icon, I want to just mention something about a bus. I heard this morning Alex Jones talking to Gerald Celente that during the congressional hearings, Kerry was talking to a general and hoping that the general would back him up. And when the general did not back him up, Kerry supposedly mumbled under his breath something to the effect of, "Thanks for throwing me under the bus." So, hey, we didn't throw John Kerry under the Liberty bus. But what the discussion was Alex Jones and Gerald Celente were talking about how really fundamentally weak in character some of these guys are. And Gerald Celente was saying that if we just stand our ground with them, they will fold like deck chairs. I hope he's right. But one thing that I kind of want to focus on this morning is us standing our ground and the importance of that, and how just in very simple ways we can do that. But I want to give some context. I want to be a little brief yesterday. I kind of lost the concept of brevity. I want to get it back today. Senator Graham warns of nuke strike after missing Warheads report. Now, Alex Jones is making a big deal of this today, and if you are an Alex Jones listener, you're very familiar with this story. But what happened is a few days ago, and you can follow this link, some warheads were taken out of a military base with no signatures, which means no official orders. And the whole thing was just the way it went down was not clean. And it really begs the question, what is going on? Where were these warheads taken? What is planned for their use? And then Senator Graham warns of a nuke strike. So, and not because this missing warheads information has has crossed over into the mainstream media, or because he's exposing it. It's almost a threat. Nukes in hands of terrorists could result in bombing coming to Charleston Harbor. Why do these guys do this? You know, if something is being planned and he knows about it, why would he talk about it? And there is the idea of lesser magic, where supposedly the Illuminati believe that they need to tell us what they're going to do to us, so that when they do it, it's our fault because we weren't prepared. Something along those lines. Is this what this man is doing in talking about this, or can he just not keep his mouth shut about secrets? It's really difficult to tell. People always want to appear to have insider knowledge, and that seems to feed people's egos. So, was it that? Is this just planting the seed of the idea, so that if something does happen, we immediately, our minds go to this place of, oh, it must be terrorists, when, you know, it may have been done by elements of the U.S. government. So this is something to keep in mind, something to pray about. And I have another InfoWars article, basically just because this is where I heard about these things, and these issues were what I felt were a priority today. Obama, Congress is supposed to represent me, not the American people. And evidently he's sending this message out, which is serious and of concern. But the real focus that I want to point out here is lawmakers know better than 99% of the voters, Obama implied. And huge numbers of voters are contacting their congresspeople and asking them to vote no on the war. And if you haven't done that yet, or sent an email or a fax, it's not too late. I'm told the phone calls are 9 out of 10 against a strike in Syria from my constituents in Kentucky, said Senator Rand Paul. Representative Matt Salmon told the National Review that out of the 500 voters who called his office recently, 498 of them adamantly wanted to stay out of Syria. So this is a huge groundswell of the American people crying out and saying, no, we don't want this. We don't want it. And today, as I stated earlier, I want to communicate how important our human free will is and how much power we have as people. And if you happen to listen to the podcast that I had on the tour yesterday about quantum physics from a Christian point of view, you'll have a deeper understanding of where I'm coming from here. Jewel has lyrics to a song in which she sang, "No longer lend your strength to that which you wish to be free from." As we change our hearts and as we share with the people around us, we impact all of humanity. And this is the principle, the 100th monkey phenomenon. And you've probably heard of this. This is a nice basic summary of the study that was done. And I won't go through the whole thing. I will skip to the miracle here. Monkeys, beginning with one particular monkey, monkeys found a better way to eat their food. And at a certain point, virtually all the monkeys, even though they didn't have direct contact with each other, they were on different islands, they all began to wash their food in the same manner. And once the number of monkeys reached 100 who were in contact with each other, learned from one another, beyond that, it was some kind of a tipping point where this idea just became kind of universal to them. A sort of group consciousness had developed among the monkeys, Watson tells us. And I'll just read on a little more. It had developed suddenly as a result of one last monkey's learning potato washing by conventional means. The sudden learning of the rest of the Koshima troop was not attributable to the normal one monkey at a time methods of previous years. The new phenomenon of group consciousness was responsible not only for the sudden learning on Koshima, but for the equally sudden acquisition of the habit by monkeys across the sea. And this is a sort of miracle, and it was called the miracle on Koshima. This can be used against us for evil, but once we know this, that we contribute to I'll use the word evolution, although specifically that's not the best word, but we contribute to the evolution of humanity, to the development of new ideas, walking in greater truth, a better life. And all we have to do is our part, be the, kind of almost want to change the name of the tour to something like the 12th monkey or the 85th monkey. I mean, we don't know where we are in the line of how, when the tipping point will be reached. But if we do our part and talk to people, share with people, call Congress, whatever. And I wanted to, I had this Bible verse in mind, what Jesus said in the book of Revelation. So, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew you out of my mouth. And I just want to say a little bit about conviction. Sometimes we don't want to take a position. We don't want to go out on a limb. We don't. Sometimes, some people even believe that it's not right to take a side. That's duality. But here's Jesus said, look, if you were cold, I would keep you in my mouth. If you were hot, I would keep you in my mouth. But you haven't made a determination of where you want to be. There's no conviction here. And I believe that conviction is critical for us, and to become involved as one of the monkeys somewhere, whether we're between 1 and 100 or whether we're after 100. Just if we have conviction and we take a stand. And where is that stand going to be? I was thinking about this Bob Dylan lyric. You just want to be on the side that's winning. We can't just pick the side that appears to be the winning side. And I think a lot of people have done that with Obama winning the presidency, and nothing against him personally. It's not about anything personal. It's about people, jumping on somebody's bandwagon because they look like a winner. And just as I'm saying this, what comes to mind is in the film "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" when the one side has a midget. The two politicians are preparing for an election, and they're both on the stump, and the one side gets a midget, and all of a sudden, everybody's interested in the midget, so that guy is ahead in the polls. And there's a natural tendency, I think, for us to want to be on the side that's winning. And I think there's been a lot of momentum that has gathered behind Obama for a lot of reasons, not all bad. But we really need to look more deeply and not make a determination based on what side appears to be winning. And for that, I have, and I'm kind of all over the map today with my web references, a lot of pop culture stuff in here. But I have a video clip, which is a little over 2 minutes long, of the scene in Lord of the Rings when Sam is encouraging Frodo, talking to him, and then the title of the clip is "The Stories That Really Mattered." That when you hear a story told, you already know who the winners are. Like if you're reading a Bible story, you're reading about David and Goliath, you know that David triumphed over Goliath. Well, David did not have the advantage of absolute knowledge of the future. What he walked into in confronting Goliath, although in his heart of faith, his victory was assured. In hard facts, his victory was anything but assured. So as we go through these critical times, these times of testing and times of stress, and times when there's a lot of terror, even though there aren't bombs going off around us, there are all of these threats and all of this turmoil and upheaval. It's important for us as we gain conviction, as we become either cold or hot and stop being lukewarm, that we don't need to side with the side that appears to have the power, appears to have the authority, appears to have the potential to win, because something else can happen, against the odds. Frodo and Sam went into Mordor and the ring was destroyed, and the people of Middle-earth were set free. So as I said about the 100th monkey, wherever we are in that line, the determination that we make to take a stand against evil has a ripple effect on the people around us. So that's really, I believe I expressed what I believe was most significant and most important today. And it's Friday, so hoping that you have a great weekend. We thank you for joining us for today's tour, and the daily tour is a presentation of She Who Will Walk in the Dark Productions. The dawn is coming. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and insist on liberty.